continue to use the default system prompt. So effectively, it's like a hybrid mode. So you can have, if you have a digital receptionist and you have a Spanish number directed to it, and the language and everything is set up as Spanish, it will just follow it. But as soon as it leaves that digital IVR, it will follow the standard English menu or whatever the menu you have set up on the PBX. Now, menu options, again, when you click on the zeros or ones and twos and vice versa, the options, there are quite a few different options. You can connect to an extension, so you can send a call to an extension. Then you can send it to a ring group. This will give you a list of all the available ring groups in the PBX. You have the option to send it to a call queue. You can have an option to actually create like a daisy chain, so you can connect to, you can pass your own digital receptionist. Now this will allow you to create like multi-level digital receptionist. For example, you may have one digital receptionist as a choice of language in the PBX. Let's say, for example, press 1 for English, 2 for Korean, 3 for German, or whatever the different languages are. And then once you go into that, then it will then read out that specific language prompt as well. Now, when creating complex digital receptionists, please keep them as complex as it absolutely, not overcomplicate things. Just keep it as simple as possible. As a caller may get confused or bored or hang up the call, because if you have multiple, the receptionist, as I said, it's all about getting to the right place. I do believe HMRC needs to do something simple, but again, you need to make it simple as possible for people to dial in. Then you have transfer to voicemail. You have the option to do nothing about it, or you can repeat the prompt. You can also play prompt and exit, and you can also send a call to a call flow. Now, call flow is not covered in this training course or any training course as far as I'm aware, but you can create a very specific call flow based on more complex call operations you want to perform for the customer. Oops. Then another option which was shown in the screenshot of the previous slide, but I didn't mention, that is a call by name feature. This feature provides the caller with the option to dial a caller extension, even if they don't know the extension number. So a dialing is done based on the configured last name of the extension. The caller will be prompted to enter the first 3 digits of the last name of the person which they wish to contact. Okay, so this allows small companies without DDIs to have a small, kind of smart dialing capabilities, where they will be able to contact directly without needing to go through a receptionist. Now, to enable the call by name feature to dial an extension, you will need to record a self-identification prompt via the voicemail of each extension. Now, the user will then be able to record their names to be used in the identification of the extension in the call by name menu. And what this means is effectively the self-identification prompt will be played when there are more than one match for the 3 digits number of the caller. For example, David Smith, let's call it, David Smith and Wayne Roger, both have surnames that can be accessed by dialing 764 on the keypad. So if you have a numerical keypad, if you think about older, if you think about old Nokia phones and vice versa, you can type in different things. You can type in 777 a couple of times to get to the right letter, and that's the same concept here. So if you look at Smith and Rogers, if you dial 764, it can be used as Smith. It can also be used as Rogers. Per particular case, their self-identification prompt will be read out to the caller with the prompt to select which person you need to speak to. So what it means is the caller will say, right, okay, we have 2 people here, Wayne, Roger, and David Smith. Who do you want to reach out to? And then you can say Wayne, Rogers, or option 1, and vice versa, and that will route the call to the right people within the organization. Now, the call by name functionality has a limit of 10 users as the option to speak to a person are 0 to 9 effectively. So what it means is, if the last 3 digits, if 764 matches more than 10 people, then it will only show the 10 people. It won't have more than, it won't prompt that we have another person with the same name. That's the limitation of the 3.6 PBX, because effectively it's doing a lot of those summary things in the background to get to the right people, and that's the limitation 3.6 have set on on the dial an extension at any point within a standard type digital receptionist to be configured. There's an interdigit timeout of 2 seconds, so the caller will need to enter the extension digits within 2 seconds. Otherwise, the digital receptionist or digital IVR might consider this to be an invalid option or an option for the digital receptionist. Okay. So sometimes this functionality is not required on the system. So if you do not want to caller dialing extensions at random, you can choose any other type of digital receptionist other than standard, where this functionality is not active. So after the digital reception prompt is read out, the PBX will wait for the configured option to be entered. If no input is detected after the configured timeout, the PBX will forward the call based on the configuration. The normal menu options are available in this case, except for the play prompt and exit prompt. Now, when an invalid option is entered 3 times, for example, somebody tries to dial an extension from the direct dialing functionality and dials an invalid extension, the PBX provides the option to transfer the call either to an extension, a ring group, another digital receptionist, to repeat the prompt or send the calls to a call flow option. Defined digital receptionist at holidays. Okay, so if you have the holiday configuration done during the according to the effectively available for the holiday digital receptions are the same as any digital receptionist defined in the PBX. You can define the holiday digital receptionist to be any type of digital receptionist. Okay. Now, during the holidays, 2 different call flows are available, which effectively you can see from the call flow diagram. The first one is when a holiday prompt is defined in the PBX holiday setting. When defining a holiday, if a holiday prompt is defined, the prompt will be played. Okay, and when the call is transferred to the holiday digital receptionist, the prompt for this digital receptionist will not be played, but the options and the timeout will be in force. I don't know how many you get it, so let me repeat that again. So the first one is when a holiday prompt is defined in the PBX holiday settings. Okay, now when defining a holiday, if the holiday prompt is defined, okay, if it is defined, then the prompt will be played. And when the call is transferred to the holiday digital receptionist, the prompt of this digital receptionist will not be played, but the options and the timeout will be in force. So if the holiday prompt is not present, then the holiday digital receptionist prompt will be played. And then the options will be triggered, whatever options are remote. Okay. So incoming call, holiday prompt is present. Yes, it will play the holiday prompt, and then it will go to the digital receptionist options. If there is no holiday prompt available, like for example for Christmas or maybe for May Day, Bank Day holidays, and vice versa, if there's no holiday present or forgot about it, it will just send it to intro prompt, which is standard holiday receptionist, and then it will go to the digital receptionist. So in summary, only one of the 2 prompts will be played with a given priority given to the holiday prompt in the PBX holiday settings. And that's about it really. Again, the holiday prompts are really based on time-based scheduling, because eventually you are defining a time on the PBX which talks about what date and time is the actual holiday coming into effect. So that is from the digital receptionist point of view. So let me take you to back to the PBX again, and just to give you a bit of idea, a glimpse of how it works. So now again, I'm back to my PBX, and this is obviously advanced training. This is the pro license I'm using. Just if you're interested, on there you can see the digital receptionist option there. So if you click on that, I've already have an holiday out of hours of your IVR defined on it. If I click on it, you can see different options. This is by default behavior. The type is standard. You've got the prompts you want to play. It could be English, and then you can do different things about it. Also different things. I'm not going to cover. Let's create a new one anyway. So let's create a new one, which is main DDR. Extension number, you can define whatever extension number you want to define. You can say standard, DTMF, launch script, or whatever. I'm going to keep it standard. I can upload my own, obviously, voice prompts. I don't have money, so I'm just going to use, let's call it empty wave file. I'm going to stick with my prompt, which is available on, which I've chosen as the point of installation. And then based on the prompt, I can say, I probably have recorded, let's say I've probably pressed 1 for sales, 2 for support, and vice versa. I can say, okay, I want to send it to a ring group, which is SNOM, let's call it. Then I want to say, okay, if somebody enters 2, I want to again send it to a ring group, which is counterpart in Cisco, for example. And then if somebody enters 3, it could be a support thing. So I can say, right, okay, send it to a support call queue. So as simple as that. You can also assign DDIs to it. So if I have a DDI, I can effectively assign that DDI to this IVR, which basically means if anybody dials in this DDI, it will then go and ring or play this IVR menu, and then you can do that from there. Now the last few bits I've got here is if there's no input within seconds, which I can obviously change. If there's no input within 60 seconds, I can end the call, I can example, I'm going to, let's try. So if I dial 803 from one of my phones, if I press 3,
please enter the first 3 letters of the last name of the person you're trying to contact.
Right, so I've just got Harriet, which is the last Bajwa actually, JWA, which is 592. Okay, and that.
The first 3 letters of the last name of the person you're trying to contact.
Okay, because I've not configured any prompts, I've not recorded any prompts on my system, it's not finding that option, but you've got a bit of idea about how it all works. It comes in, you enter the last 3 digits, it finds all the relevant people, and then it allows you to dial that number. I'm just going to quickly have a look at some questions because I think I've covered most of the things which I want to cover. Digital receptionist versus IVR, both are the same. Yes, it's exactly the same thing. There is no difference. Some people call it IVR, some people call it digital receptionist, but it's the same thing. Right. Okay. I think there are more questions. Let me have a quick look. I will come back to you later on if that's okay, Mohammed. So I'll be in touch with you regarding the answers and we can have a bit more detailed conversation on it. Right. Okay. So I know we're a bit short of time, so I'm just gonna do the last bit, which is the ring groups. So let's cover those ring groups, and then we can probably cover some of the bits later on. So this is probably most commonly used scenarios when you are actually selling the PBX, and it's probably one of the most easier to set up apart from the queues, because of course queues can get very complicated depending on what customer wants and how customer wants to do the calls and vice versa. Okay, so ring groups. Let's first talk about what it is. A ring group effect. By contact, you can, for example, the sales department may have 5 people in it, and you want to ring all 5 of them, or whoever, you want to ring a sales department, and somebody wants to, so you can effectively ring the ring group number which you have created, and then that will reach all the people within that group. Now, ring groups have 2 different ringing strategies. The first one is ring all, and this is probably the most commonly used strategy out of all, which basically means it will when every extension within that ring group, so if you can add hundreds of extension in it or whatever, when you ring that ring group, or when you direct a DDI to that ring group, all the extensions will ring. Okay, and any single person can answer the call. When a single person on the phone answers the call, I've seen people are requesting that, but effectively it doesn't leave a voicemail on other phones as long as effectively you're using a certified phone. So if you're using a phone and all phones are ringing and somebody has answered, or one of the salesperson has answered, the other people won't see a missed call notification. This is something obviously you don't really want to, because the call has been answered. Probably only want to see missed calls if you have missed the call. Now, there's a general questions about how many calls or how many simultaneous calls does the 3CX use when you are putting calls in a ring group? Because if you have let's say you have 20 extensions and you put all those 20 extensions or in a ring group, you probably would be thinking, oh, you might want 20 simultaneous call, PBX or 24 call system. It's actually not that. It's not that difficult. When you put extensions in a ring group, regardless of how many extensions you have in the ring group, the system will only consider this as single simultaneous call form, and it will only take that from your 3.6 license. So a single ring group is one. Depending on how many calls, it will still send calls to all 20, 30 handsets, but it will take it as a single simultaneous call. Now, the second priority is a prioritized hunt strategy, and this is pretty much, again, it hunts extension one by one, effectively, in simple words. So what happens is a call comes in, each call to the ring group will take one simultaneous call. Well, I've covered anyways, but again, it will ring one extension, then after the timeout, it will ring the second one and third one, and vice versa. But the difference is each call to the ring group will take one simultaneous calls from your 3.6 license, which is effectively the same I've covered before. Again, creating a ring group is pretty much straightforward. Go to management console, ring groups, add a ring group, and then you name the ring group something, which is effectively you can see it's called ring group name, but you can call it sales, support, vice versa. Then you create a virtual extension number. You just need to be very, very, very sure. So effectively, the virtual number could be anything. But my preference or my recommendation is if you're creating an extension. So let's say, for example, your extension number starts with 200, okay, or 300 or 400 or whatever. If your extension number starts with 300s, try and use your queues and voicemail numbers in a completely different format, number range. So effectively, if your extension number starts with 100, 101, 102, vice versa, maybe choose the ring group number to be 800. So because obviously it will take you time to get to the 800. Because if you have a duplicate, I've seen a lot of people duplicating ring groups with the extension numbers, and which is where the PBX get confused and causes all sorts of strange problems. Which I've never heard of. So make sure your ring group number, virtual number is always different or a bit extra, one extra number as compared to your extension numbers. And eventually the next bit obviously is you've got the virtual extension number, then you have got price, you set your strategy, and then you have the ring time, which is effectively how long it rings before timing out. Then the next page is just below when you go down, you actually eventually select how many people, which agents, which users are effectively part of that ring group, and you click on add and start adding all the extensions in that ring group. Generally, these are just normal user extensions effectively which are assigned to this ring group. Now, if a group user member is busy, there is no retargeting of the group member, which is pretty much straightforward. So effectively what it means is the PBX will work its way through the list only once. Okay, if the group is not available to answer the call, well, if the member of the group is not available to answer the call, the PBX will try the next available member in the list. Okay, and this is effectively available. This is the one which I'm covering about hunt group scenario where you're hunting one by one. Okay, so if the group member is busy, or if the extension is busy, it will not retarget. It will just go through the step one by one. It won't come back. It won't try the second one and then come back to first one because it was busy. It will go through and kind of an ascending order from top to bottom. If retargeting of the group member is required, you'd probably be better off using call queues instead of the ring groups. Okay, now again for call queues I'm not going to cover that, but there is an option which you have different strategies available in the call queues, which you can use, where you can send it back to the original agent, or you can send it back to the agent who's least answer the call. I'll go through some of the things briefly, but it's more covered in advanced training course, unfortunately. Now, an extension can be part of a multiple ring groups as well. If an extension is taking on a call from one of the ring groups, it will not ring for a call of another ring group. Okay, which is kind of important. So if you are part of multiple ring groups, a call comes in, and maybe a DDI comes in, or whatever call comes into, which hits one ring group, and then there's another ring group that it hits, then only the first call, if you're on the call, it won't ring your call phone again, because obviously the system knows you are busy. So the way the prioritized hunting strategy works effectively is kind of as follows. The ring group will always ring the first available ring group member in the list and goes from top to bottom. Okay, it will ring this extension for the configured timeout by default, which is set to 20 seconds, but then this can be increased or decreased as per your requirement. After ringing the extension for the ringing time configured, it will then move along to the next available group member. Okay, it will keep on doing this all the way through the list until the call gets answered. Okay, so it will try the first timeout, second timeout, third, and keep on going. Okay. An extension which is already in inactive state, this is what I was starting to do, is if the extension is already in an active call, it won't be pulled, and the call will move on to the next available extension that is. So if the extension is busy, if this extension guy is busy while it's turn to start ringing, the PBX will ignore this user, and then it will jump from extension 1 to extension 3 and keep on moving forward. Now, at the end of the day, if the calls are not answered by any of the agents or extensions, then it will go to a destination, which is if no answer. That is covered in later on at a later stage. We'll cover that in a later stage in the last bit, because obviously that will be covered for more. That's applicable for more strategies. So the next one is the ring all strategy is effectively, as I said before, it will ring all available ring group members. That is members which are not already on the call simultaneously for the duration of the ring time. Okay. So the ring. So what it means is I have these questions historically as well. So basically, what it means is you have 3 people who are part of the ring group. Okay. The extension, one of the extension is already on the call. Now a call comes in. Only 2 handsets, available handsets will ring. It will ignore the one on the call. Okay, so and it will call if nobody answers. If the call comes in and during the call coming in, the user, actually the busy user, hangs up, it won't ring that extension again. It just, the PBX doesn't do that, unfortunately. I had this question before, and PBX doesn't just follow that process. It rings out and it times out, and then somebody from the 2 extensions which are on the group will have to answer the call. Again, for this kind of behavior, you will have to use the call queuing, so it goes back to the agent who just hung up the call. So after ringing all the phones for the duration of the ringing time, the call will go to the destination if no answer field. Now, ring group options, effectively the destination if no answer is a pre-configured destination, where the calls overflowing from a ring group will be routed to. In case a call is unable to be serviced by the group member. A call can be dropped if it is not serviced by the ring group. You can connect a call to a user or a system extension, which may be in another ring group, or it could be another call group or digital receptionist or call flow apps and vice versa. You can divert the calls to a voicemail of an extension, as well as a group voicemail. However, with group voicemail, an email will be sent to the ring group or group queue members as an attachment, and not as a voicemail to be heard from the phones of the extension. So the group voicemail, we've not covered that in detail, but effectively the way it works is you can use it as an email. You can't use it as a phone. So if somebody has left a voicemail, you cannot see group voicemail on your individual phones. You will only receive that as part of the group email box. And finally, you can also forward the call from a ring group to an external outside number, which can be used if obviously if you are a small SMB kind of business and you have many people in offices. You can also forward it to a mobile phone or an external number of your choice. So missed call handling, I'll touch base on that anyways, but let's talk about it a bit more so you understand how the missed call notification works. So when a call comes directly to an extension and doesn't get answered, then the call is logged as a missed call in the phone's log, call log. Now when a call comes into a ring group, however, and you have a number of extensions servicing the call, how would the missed call notification be handled in a different ring group scenario? It's very basic. It basically depends on the ring strategy configured on the PBX. So when you have a ring all strategy, and the call end up being routed to a destination if no answer, then all member of the ring group will have rung with it notified to be of the missed call. So they will all receive missed call notification if none of them are answered and the call went into destination if no answer. Now, if the call gets answered by one of the ring group members, then the call will not be logged as a missed call. No extensions will be notified, and as this call will be considered as answered by the PBX. So now this is a ring all strategy. Let's talk about the prioritization strategy when using that. So when that is in use, the call end up in the destination if no answer, and all group members will have received no notification or on the phones or on the call logs. If the member of the group answers, then the member which were called before this extension in the group list will be notified. Okay, so that's an interesting part. So